So, good afternoon, all. It's time to get started with our session. We are 2 minutes into our session, 1 hour long session. My name is Vinay Nangia. I'm research program leader for soil, water, and agronomy at ICARDA. ICARDA is one of the premier CGIAR centers specializing in dryland agriculture, and we are headquartered in the MENA region, Middle East, North Africa, which is known for physical water scarcity. This region is simply not blessed with enough water resources, and the challenges that the people here face on a day-to-day basis are quite intense and unique. And there is so much that is happening in the space of climate change adaptation in terms of innovative agriculture, water management in this part of the world, which can be of learning to the rest of the world. So what we say here is that what we are facing in the MENA region today, the rest of the world might be facing tomorrow. So the science, the innovations, the bankable ideas that look like are promising here may be of help to the rest of the world, say the Mediterranean, Europe, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and elsewhere. So keeping that in mind, we have put together this session, which is on fragility, moving from fragility to resilience. So how can you make this challenge into an opportunity? So, like most of if you look at the world's top 10 most water scarce places, 8 out of those 10 places you can find in this part of the world. And when you are physically not blessed with enough water resources, you have a young population, a very vibrant, high population growth rate. People are depending on agriculture for employment generation, for livelihoods, to prevent migration from rural to urban areas. When you're trying to provide food security to these people, it's quite a challenge. And the session we have put together here today is such that we are trying to bring various different voices, the scientific voices, the people from the ministry, people from the donor agency, trying to unpack this puzzle of how we are all joining hands in our own ways to bring together a package of solutions. So it's not just the science, it's also the scalability of science, the investment in the scalability of science. So this is a novel session in that sense that you will have answers to various different questions, in a sense that you will have a recipe. You have the science, and how do you go about implementing that science, and some case studies, some successful examples, and success stories that will be narrated. Without disclosing too much, I just want to hand over to my colleague, Dr. Mohi Eldin Omar, who will be moderating this session and will be introducing a series of presenters that we have lined up here today. But I look forward to listening, and then I'll come back to take some questions or make some closing remarks at the end. Thank you so much, and over to you, Mohi, now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Vinay. So actually today we have been very fortunate to have a list of esteemed experts from various institutions. So we are going to start today with our co-convener in this session, the International Water Management Research Institute. So our first speaker is Dr. Mohammed Khalifa, who is currently working as a regional researcher on integrated modeling and assessment at the International Water Management Research Institute. And before joining IWMI, Dr. Mohammed accumulated over 15 years of experience in geoscience, water resource management, and climate change at various institutes. So, Dr. Mohammed, the floor is yours now. You can please start your presentation.
Thank you.
You are muted.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. Today, I am delighted to share with you an exploration into the transformative power of next generation water monitoring tools, especially on the process of co-design and creation of these tools and their important function in enhancing resilience in dryland regions. We are starting now with something very basic, which is data for the transformation process. For today's presentation, I will be discussing 4 points. I will start by highlighting some challenges that drylands are facing Next, I will emphasize innovative water monitoring tools that are crucial for addressing these challenges. I will then showcase examples from the Fragility to Resilience Siwana initiative. Then I will discuss the broader impact of these tools in transforming dryland resilience. And finally, I will conclude with some takeaway messages. Let us begin with highlighting some critical challenges that drylands are facing. As we all know, dry zones are characterized by limited water resources, which makes them highly vulnerable to the impacts of change in climate. These impacts have complex and cascading consequences across systems and sectors, especially that many systems in these zones display weak adaptive capacities, leaving millions of people who live in these regions exposed to the serious impacts of climate change, which are significant, especially on poor and disadvantaged communities. As we know, effective water resources management is important, and it's inherently complex and requires a thorough understanding of all aspects of the water cycle components. This includes information on precipitation, evapotranspiration, groundwater levels, surface water flows, and water quality, and others. However, monitoring and in situ measurements to make informed decisions are not always available. As you can see in these maps, there is a noticeable correlation between the global extent of drylands, which is the map on the left, and regions where essential water monitoring data are either limited or completely absent. You can see examples of weather stations for rainfall and temperature. This lack of information intensifies the challenge of managing water resources effectively. So we believe that traditional water monitoring methods fall short in many dryland zones, and there is a need for a paradigm shift and a new generation of water monitoring tools. So from monitoring perspective to support transformation from fragility to resilience in drylands, we need effective strategies. First, to navigate the data scarcity challenge, to translate data into actionable knowledge, to create sustainable solutions for information sharing, and then make these solutions work. In Siwana initiative, we aim to help drylands in multiple countries in Siwana, which is the Central and West Asia and North Africa regions, to make this transformation from fragility to resilience, especially in package 4, which is led by IMI, the International Water Management Institute. We are promoting whole water cycle management by leveraging advanced remote sensing, big data, and data analytics to study state of water, availability, and patterns of consumptions and use. And by offering our analysis in understandable ways and user-friendly formats like web-based dashboards to support decision-making. For our solutions to be effective, there are several dimensions that we consider in these tools. First, the tool should be stakeholder-driven. So stakeholders are central in this process. And based on standard approaches that unify terms and methods such as the water accounting plus approach, we estimate the available water and we keep tracking of water inflow and water outflow and what is happening inside the specific area regarding water. The tool should benefit from the accelerated advancement in big data and data analytics. It incorporates spatial dimensions, which is very critical for water problems, and it provides information on real or near real data time, which is very, very essential also for the success of these tools. So the information should be presented using user-friendly interfaces. And finally, monitoring tools should have open access policy. Let me now present two examples which are at different stages of development. One of them is still at the early design stage, and the other at an advanced operational stage. The first example comes from the Kashkadaria region in Uzbekistan. This tool is still, as I mentioned, at the stage of stakeholder mapping, the early stage, and the stakeholder needs assessment. In this stage, we emphasize consultation with stakeholders, capturing their demands and expectations. Next stage will include co-designing the conceptual framework of the tool with our stakeholders. And then we move to the technical part of the tool implementation, testing, and launching. Feedback loops with stakeholders are emphasized throughout the process. And in parallel of the consultation and design process, we are collecting, processing, validating, and analyzing big data available from public domain sources, especially remote sensing, to be used for the tool creation. In this slide, you see screenshots of parts of the survey that is taken right now in the region to map stakeholders and assess their needs. And a stakeholder consultation workshop is planned to follow this phase to co-design the tool's conceptual framework. Let me now jump to the other example, which is at the operational phase, which comes from the Souss Massa Basin in Morocco. I think the time will not allow me to conduct a live demonstration of the tool, but I will show you some screenshots of the dashboard. What you see here in this slide is the main page of the tool that contains basic information regarding the basin, including area, number of population, basin maps, water consumption by different land cover types, and water balance for different years. Other tabs contains information regarding water availability using different indicators like per capita water availability and stress on environmental water needs, information regarding water balance, information regarding climate, and a change analysis on the impact of climate change on water resources in the basin. These advanced tools are instrumental in transforming drylands from fragility to resilience. While there are many aspects to highlight, I will focus only on two important points. First, these tools can deliver actionable insights based on accurate, timely data, empowering informed decision-making in the present. An example of this is an indicator in the dashboard of the Souss Massa dashboard, which is called basin closure. A value of 100% indicates that water in the basin is fully consumed and there is no capacity for further water development in the basin. Another example is that these datasets and the associated tools provide essential information to anticipate and mitigate future risk associated with potential water change. An example for this is the change in rainfall in the future due to climate change that is shown on the right figure. So let me conclude with three takeaway messages that represent the core of this presentation. First, integrated water monitoring tools that are leveraging big data and advanced analytics are vital for transforming drylands into resilient systems. Then stakeholder engagement and feedback loops are essential for the sustainability of these tools. Third, these tools empower decision makers with accurate, real data and actionable insights. In conclusion, the journey from fragility to resilience in drylands is complex and multidimensional. However, with the right tools, strategies, and collaborative efforts, we can make significant development towards sustainable water management and resilient dryland ecosystems. I will stop here and take questions if any. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Muhammad, for your interesting presentations. I think the questions will be at the end of our presentations. So now we have a good opportunity to see a good experience of effective water user associations and participatory approach of water resource management from Egypt. So our pleasure today to have Dr. Yusri Khafagi, the head of irrigation improvement sector at the Ministry of Water Resource and Irrigation in Egypt. He has accumulated over than 30 years of professional experience in several national projects and programs, including but not limited to the Integrated Irrigation Improvement and Management Project and the National Water Resource Plan. So, Dr. Yusri, the floor is yours. You can start.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mohi. Hello, dear esteemed colleagues on board. Please let me express my great gratitude to you all and to being among this high valued event, especially with your attendance and your participation. Yeah. So my presentation today will give you and will give the audience the philosophy of the participation of water user association in the water management, especially as agriculture land schemes and water management. Yeah. So my presentation, which is water user association towards an effective participatory irrigation management approach in Egypt.
Dr. Yusri, could you please share your presentation?
It is shared now. Yeah.
I don't see it too. Am I the only one that cannot see the presentations? Does anyone see the presentation? Okay.
No, Mohi, we are not seeing it.
Okay. So, Dr. Yusri, could you please share? Okay.
Now?
Yes.
Yes, if you can put in slideshow mode, please.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry for that.
You can see it. You may
see the presentation, but we don't hear. Okay. Okay.
Okay now. Well, يعني. Sorry for that, but
no. Now we can see the presentation. You can go ahead.
We can see it. We can hear you. You may resume, please.
But I'm sorry. I stop sharing and I'll reshare again. Sorry.
Mohi, can you repeat in Arabic?
Okay. Dr. Yusri.
Okay, Mohi.
تمام.
I'm sorry.
ماشي.
Now it's okay?
تمام.
Yes.
So here I would like to present the water user actions to cope with water scarcity in Egypt through the endeavors of the Water User Association, which have been made to show the participatory irrigation management approach at the agriculture level. So the contents of my presentation will identify the problem identification, and will give from that the participatory irrigation management approach, the scheme of participatory irrigation management approach, and the domain of responsibility of the water user governance. In this concern, we will show the governance by law. The law sets some activities for the water users and the involvement to share responsibility with the government authorities. At the end, we shall present the expected merits from user involvement in water resources management. So here the problem identification. When we look at Egypt within the arid countries in the Arab countries, so we shall see that Egypt has a unique location and one of the most arid among Arab countries due to the less precipitation rainfalls, and also the climate variability along with severe impact on water resources, like flash floods, which happened from time to time due to the uncertainty of coping with these severe impacts of the climate change. Also, the heat waves, which impacting the water resources, negatively impact the water resources. Egypt, we know all that Egypt has a limited water resources, where the Nile River is the major source of water, which come from abroad the countries. And the population is we know all as it is more than 1 million capita, 1 million capita, so 100 million capita. So the per capita water resources less than 500 cubic meter a year. This puts pressure and stress on the water resources by all sectors, which is drinking water, domestic water, and industrial, agricultural, and so on, which needs to go to the end users and make them involved in the water management, just to deal with the deficit amount of water. So if we look at Egypt from need, the sectoral needs and demands, there is almost more than 80 billion 80 billion cubic meter a year, which is needed for all sectors. But the available water resource is less than 60. So the deficit between water demand and water resource is 21 billion cubic meter a year, which is internal. This is plus what is needed from the imported goods for seeds, and everything needs water, which counted to 34 billion cubic meters. So the entire water demand needed for all sectors and just to suffice all people in Egypt is more than 114 billion cubic meter. This is against almost 60 billion cubic meter, which is the resources, available resources. All in all, this gives us that there is a lack or the deficit in between the water demand and water resources more than 90%. If we took 60 from 100 for 14 billion cubic meter, so we have many endeavors to reduce the gap between the demand and resources through water reuse, and just to handle this 21 billion cubic meter a year. So the higher demand of agriculture sector also is one of the stressors and the challenges which give the problem a test which we can go through to the users themselves, the farmers who are dealing with this sector. 80% of available resources just directed to the agriculture sector and agriculture land. One more issue is farmland fragmentation. Farmland fragmentation also needs, you can say, a unique management from farmers themselves to not to make to make best water utilization. The malpractices of water users in farm irrigation also, which is flood irrigation, through the limited water resource, give also another stress on the water management scheme. The need to enhancing farmers to share responsibility with government authority. This is one core issue which led to the scheme which we shall see now. So what is the participatory irrigation management approach? We have in Egypt the main source of water, which is the Nile, River Nile, and from River Nile there is main canals which we denoted here as MC, and from main canal there are distributary canals which denoted branch canal, which is PC in the left hand side in the figure. And also there are at the on-farm level there are tertiary canal, which is we call it MESCA. So what is the business as usual scheme for managing this entire irrigation and water management system? The business as usual scheme says that we have the main canal, branch canals, and tertiary canals. The main canal is completely public properties managed by the relevant authority within the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. So by the irrigation district has a management responsibility entirely at the main canal. And from that, moving from main canal to branch canal, we have two entities, which is the irrigation directorate management, or irrigation district, to manage the responsibility, you can say, not entirely, with partial participation with Branch Canal Water User Association. This Branch Canal Water User Association represents all the users along the branch canal at the community or some domestic level, agriculture level, all other people who get use of this canal. So they are representing the Water User Association with its board. If we move to the lowest level, which is the tertiary canal, which are the dominant level, so those are private property owned by the farmers themselves. So it is dealt with and managed by the Water User Association of the farmers themselves along these MESCAs, represented by their share on the land holding within the area of the MESCAs. If we raise to the branch canal, we have several MESCAs and so on, or tertiary canals, which is distributed from the branch canal itself. This is a business as usual scheme. You can see the entire management scheme is at the main canal and branch canal to the legal entities and the governmental entities within the ministry, with a little or partial participation from the farmers in the water needs, water demand, and so to see their demands in collaboration with the district engineer. So the target scheme for the participatory irrigation management to shift at the branch canal level to Branch Canal Water User Association management responsibility entirely, with some supervision and assistance and support with capacity building from the irrigation district engineers or the governmental engineer. So this is you can say the approach. We shall see in the next slides this approach, how can it works here. If we look at this approach, so we have domains for responsibility of Water User Association. We have here water management aspects, we have maintenance aspects, we have financial management aspects. As we mentioned in the past slide, we have at the main canal level, so it is completely managed by the government authority, which is the irrigation directorate and the irrigation districts and so on. But the participation of the Water User Association here seeks for to define and identify the crop pattern per land, agricultural land, just to set the provisional water demand allocated along these 80% of the water resources needed for agricultural land. Also for water demand and allocation, which I see, irrigation scheduling, to manage and handling the irrigation scheduling on farm level and MESCA level and so on, just to not reach the conflict amongst the water users, especially when severe you can say climatic actions are there, and just to make water reach to the people according to irrigation schedule. From maintenance viewpoint, so this Water User Association can take some part of the rules and the activities which the governmental authority are implementing, like maintenance of some reaches along the branch canals, along the even make some works on the water structures and so on through contracting, which lead to at the end to reduce burden from the governmental staff and enable them to improve the service delivery of water delivery to the farmers and the other sector even. Yeah. From a financial management aspect, so the resources of making those people are financially sustainable, so they have to have a membership fees based on their land holding and land holding. If it is 1 acre, part of acre, 3 acres, and so on, to give the share in the member fees according to that, and also the source of the grants which might be given from the development partner to support and just to raise the capacity of those people. So we have here on these domains, we have some requisites to be there. Institutional capacity building should be afforded to the Water Use Association. Technical capacity is also one major issue to digest the scheme of operation from maintenance and water management and operation. Financial capacity also to be there, just to not to violate any financial laws or any financial aspects set by the government. A legislative capacity building also is needed to know what are other laws just altering the water laws and so on. This slide gives you the water user governance set by the water law in Egypt. So we have before the ongoing law, the Water Resources Law number 1947 issued in 2021. We have already some legal water user association already formed, which is the existing MESCA Water User Association or the Tertiary Water User Association. We have heads of water user association board. So these heads, which is shown in the left side and under the red line, those are the heads of water user association at different MESCAs. From those ones, there are some election to raise up at the branch canal water user association, which feed in these MESCAs. We have in this blue, those are the heads. Those which are already existing. What is next after this law? Before the law, those are existing according to other laws. With the new law, so we have to raise up. We have to raise up to the upper level. So at the district level, we have to have one representative for those water user association. So which is the one in red one comes from the MESCA and the branch canal. And also at the governorate level, so we have to have the one who come from these reds for all the districts. We have at the governorate level, maybe 20, 15 districts. So we have to have 15 heads of district water user association to elect one from them to be the general secretary general of governor at the governorate level for the board representing the water user associations entirely at the governorate. So at every level at the community, so we have a representative from MESCA to branch canal to district water board to governorate. So at the national level, so there will be some founding committee for the first water union. General assembly of this founding committee are the heads of governorates, law secretary general, and the heads of water use. Those one in red and before this one. So what is after law? Now, after the law, we have to involve not only the MESCAs and water delivery and so on. We have to have the drains, the drainage scheme. We have to have those people, the subsurface drainage and service drainage. We have to have also the well, groundwater wells, and so to be in the water balance entirely. So we have to have those people. So we involved also the drain water user association, the well water user association, and with the same procedures, we raise up those people just to go to branch canal that we have the executive committee, we have the representative committee, and to raise up to the district water board and so on until we reach the national. At the national level, we have the water union. At the national level, we have the head districts and the governorate water board and the other from the government itself, headed by the prime minister and all the minister of water, minister of housing, minister of environment, minister, all the government, just to have a representative in this national water board, representing the insights and the needs of the water user association from different plenary. This is the governance of that, to have a consultative process between the water user at every level with the government at the top level, and to go back from top down and bottom up, just to reach consent, understanding for implementation of the water policies and the plans set in the National Water Resource Plan until 2030, 2037, even until 2050. So the expected merits from water user involvement in this issue is enhancing the sense of ownership when they are there represented in these water boards and with dealing with the government, with the high top level authorities. Just they feel the ownership of the water resource, and just hence keeping the irrigation and the drainage networks preserved, to preserve this and to save it for long time. Also, to reduce the burden from the shoulder of government water management engineers and the staff, just to be ready for just giving more effort for improving water supply services to all sectors. This also will ensure better utilizing the available water resource via modern irrigation technologies, introducing modern irrigation technologies, and increasing the water use efficiency through the consultation with the government to how to deal, how to manage, to deal with the climate variability, climate change, and just to mitigate and adapt this within the scheme of the water policy. Increasing also water productivity via application of climate smart agriculture and best practices with low cost techniques at farm level. When they are involved in the water management at different level, even to reach the top level, so they will just make a best practice even on their own, not to wait the government to introduce to them any help or something like that, just to test the water productivity along the products which might increase with the quality, with the quantity, and so on. Enhancing also the application of government water policies at different level. That's what we talk about. Also, land use and the crop consolidation. We talked at the challenges and the problem which we faced, which is the land fragmentation. This water user association at different level will enhance and just encourage the farmers to go to land use and crop consolidation. The land use consolidation was one of the major issue which might face some challenges due to the mentality and cultural heritage of the I will lose the land property and ownership and so on. But we are presenting it as a crop consolidation, like in sugarcane, like through farmer field schools, to present their experiences amongst each others along just cultivating one crop, and just evaluate and monitoring the high productivity somewhere and low productivity somewhere for the same crop, and thus just to share the experiences and the good practices to improve the situation of this of the cultivations and so on, and just to get use of each other at certain level again. This is all in all, and within the time which is allowed to me, I see I presented this. If there is any question, maybe later. Thank you very much. And this is some of the consultation and some of the visits which made by the water user associations, just to get use of some other bricks to do somewhere, where to make some tank reservoir when there is no water available. The technique, the greenhouses.
Dr. Yusri,
Yeah.
it's already been over 20-25 minutes. We had kept 10 minutes for you.
I'm
So if you
sorry.
can-
Yeah, this is the last one. Thank you for your kind attention. I'm sorry for just taking more time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Yusri, for this informative presentation about the intensive network of water user associations in Egypt. And our next speaker is going to speak and talk about how international organizations such as SIDA support the climate change adaptation with regard to water. Actually, our next speaker is Dr. Magnus Andrea. He's currently working as a regional program manager for Sweden's development cooperation program in the MENA region and is based in Amman, Jordan. He joined the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA, in 2014 and has managed programs focused on climate change, water, and natural resource management in Bangladesh, Ethiopia, and Cambodia. So, Dr. Magnus, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Omar, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope that my presentation is visible.
Yes, you may please proceed.
Perfect. Thank you. As Omar said, I work at the Swedish Embassy in Amman with Sweden's regional development program for the Middle East and North Africa. So I'm very happy for the invitation to this session that has more of a technical focus. I started my career doing research. Now I'm more of a bureaucrat, but I hope that we have important lessons learned and an interesting perspective as a donor that could enrich our discussion this afternoon. So as a donor, we work through partnerships. We don't implement anything by ourselves. We have different instruments that we can use to support partnerships and programs. I'll come back to that later. But basically, we work with partners and we take a step back. And we also have to look at the bigger picture, which for us is poverty reduction. Poverty reduction is at the core of Swedish development cooperation. And we are governed by different strategies. For the Middle East and North Africa, we have a new regional strategy from this year, so it's 2024 to 2027. This regional strategy covers North Africa, so from Morocco all the way to Iran in the Middle East. We're working in 12 countries, and the regional work that we support is supposed to complement the bilateral development programs that we have in Iraq, Palestine, and Syria. And for the regional programs that we support, there should be a regional added value. There should be a need for countries to collaborate, for the region to unite as a whole in order to deliver the results that we are seeking. And obviously in this region, as we heard from the previous speakers, water scarcity is a big issue. The region is very dry with climate change. It's becoming drier. So I highlighted here the specific mandate that we have and the objectives in our strategy that are most important to dryland agriculture and climate change adaptation. You can see from the red box that we're instructed to support programs that strengthen resilience to climate change, limit climate impact, and promote environmentally sustainable management and use of natural resource management, such as land and water. But we also think that working with the agricultural sector is important from a poverty perspective, because It employs a lot of people. A lot of the income in the region is generated through agriculture. We also think that it's important and dynamic, as we heard today, to support the innovation and entrepreneurships that's available. And to reach this goal, that there's definitely a need to have increased vocational training and education, which are also specifically mentioned under our results area in the strategy. So as I said, for Swedish Development Corporation, poverty is really at the center. And in a region like MENA, where you have water scarcity, it's very important to address issues related to climate vulnerability, because the agricultural sector, as I said, it provides income, it provides food. It's also a sector that is developing, so you can harness and focus the green transition. So you can really see that there are a lot of socioeconomic benefits, especially for the most poor and the most vulnerable, that are most at risk when it comes to different types of natural hazards and the changing climate. So for us, even though agriculture and water scarcity isn't specifically mentioned in our strategy, it still makes a lot of sense to work on those issues. And how do we work on these issues? As I said, we work supporting programs and partners, and we do that at different levels. As we heard, agriculture and food security are complex and multidimensional issues. So we really need to work at the policy level. We do that both at national but also at regional level. We work on climate services, capacity building of governments, capacity buildings of organizations, and also capacity building targeting specific farmers and local communities. Another important aspect in many of these programs is piloting. We really feel that innovation is necessary to solve many of the challenges that the region faces. And we see that there's a lot of innovation going on, both in the public and the private sphere. You can see some of the partners that we have both previous and ongoing partnerships with. I could mention FAO, where we had a large program that finished a bit more than a year ago, looking at efficiency, productivity, and sustainability, specifically in the agricultural sector with a focus on water. So there we did a lot of work on policy. I could mention that we supported the League of Arab States in convening interministerial meetings between ministries of agriculture and ministries of water, enabling more collaboration and more sharing of information. In terms of climate services, we work closely with UNESCO on the RICAR program, developing climate change assessments specifically for the Arab region, looking at how water and the impacts of climate change will affect different sectors. And one of the most effective sectors is obviously the agricultural sector. In terms of piloting and innovation, we have worked with several different both research institutions and the private sector. We have supported pilots in terms of efficient irrigation systems, where you can see here is drip irrigation, which uses less water. There are other technical advances such as improved irrigation channels. You have channels that can be covered by solar panels, for example, producing clean energy, but also limiting the evaporation and saving water resources. You have different types of irrigation schemes that are also intended to reduce the use of water and increase the productivity of the crop production. Together with ICARDA and other organizations, we've really supported developments close to the farmer, looking at drought and saline tolerant crops. We've also supported the organization working on hydroponics to have, again, more efficient and more productive systems. Similar to the first presentation that we heard, we're working with remote sensing, producing a lot of data, analyzing this data, and then feeding it back to the people that actually need it, the farmers that can benefit and increase productivity and reduce risks if they have the pertinent data available. But this is a bit the focus of this talk is to challenge us. Why are SIDA supporting this? We want, as I said, to see a poverty reduction. We want to support the people that are most at risk. And obviously then we need an impact at scale. We have been working with a lot of promising and I would say technically sound innovations and methods of working. But it's not always that these technical advancements actually are scaled up and that they benefit the population at large. This is specifically challenging, I would say, targeting smallholder farmers. You have the size, which can make it difficult. They're small, they are geographically scattered. Here you have a lot of transaction costs. But I also think that this is really a question that we need to ask ourselves. Okay, we have this technical solution, but how and which steps can we take in order to communicate it clearly to our target group, provide them with the information needed so they can assess if this is a good business decision for them? Because in the end, a lot of this comes down to calculations. Okay, how does this provide additional benefits to me as a farmer? What kind of costs are needed in order to implement this innovation or system of working? And what are the risks? What kind of risks am I taking, and how much information and trust can I put into this? I think there's good reasons that a lot of the farmers are quite conservative, because changing the ways of working comes with risks. Not understanding the risks could be catastrophic for them and their family and the local community. And then there's also the question of having access to finance. Okay, you convince someone to adopt a new method of working. They think that the benefits will outweigh the risks, but there's costs, and how can they access finance to cover those costs? And here, SIDA, we can offer...
Sorry, Dr. Magnus, sorry, because as you know that we have only 4 minutes, to the end of this session. So could you please finish in just 1 minute?
Okay, I'll try to be quick. No, so I see that we really need to collaborate, think how can the more technical information inform larger scale-up programs, where we have both considered the technical and financial viability, where we can come in with risk-sharing instruments and create new partnerships. For SIDA, we have grants available. We can provide technical assistance. We can promote technology transfer. and also give investment support. We have risk-sharing instruments that could be adopted to different ways of working, and we need new partnerships. And these partnerships should also include people from the private sector who understands more of the business, because the private sector will be needed in order to raise the capital and the human resources needed to scale this up at a regional level. And thank you. And sorry if I was over time.
Thank you, Dr. Magnus. Thank you. And now we are moving to the last presentations about the effective interventions on the farm level by Dr. Krishna Dvukta. He's a senior scientist in agronomy and agricultural water management at ICARDA and is based in Morocco and has more than 20 years of research for development experience in the field of food nutrition and food security and the climate change. So, Dr. Krishna, could you please start?
Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Maybe I'll go very quickly. Sorry, yeah. Let me then start. I'll be presenting about the supplementary irrigation, way forward for improving wheat productivity in MENA region. As we all know that dryland is facing a lot of challenges, and around 80% of the world's agricultural land is rain-fed system also, which contributes to at least 2/3 of the global food production system. Here, rain-fed drylands is the more focus area in my presentation. About 41% of the earth land is classified as dryland, wherein approximately 300 to 500 only millimeter of annual rainfall occurs, and which occurs mainly during winter and spring season. MENA region is one of the most water scarce region, as we all know that, with per capita water availability well below the global average, which is less than almost like 1,000 cubic meter per person per year. Yeah, in most of the renewable water, freshwater energy is that threshold level. MENA region is home to only 1% of the renewable fresh water, while it supports 5 to 6% of the global population. So, let me move it. In this region, rainfall is, I don't know from where it is sitting. Rainfall is not only insufficient, but irregular and constitute a major challenge. And in this presentation, I will be among several innovations that ICARDA works, for example, agrivoltaic system, low pressure drip irrigation, subsurface irrigation, etc. I will be presenting about this supplementary irrigation. Supplementary irrigation as a potential solution for sustaining wheat production, and my focus will be in wheat production. Yeah, low water use efficiency due to outdated irrigation practices, poor water management, and the challenges of highly variable and unpredictable rainfall are the key challenges in MENA region. Supplementary irrigation, I'm not reading this definition, has found as promising solutions based on several work in MENA region that ICARDA conducted in the past many years. So SI aims to meet the total water requirement of the crop and is designed to optimize water use of available water resources. The benefits of supplementary irrigations are many. It increases yield and yield stability, lower the risk of crop failure, significantly enhance water use efficiency and productivity, improve crop quality, and improve climate resilience. Required technical know-how for the supplementary irrigation are there to achieve those benefits. For example, when to irrigate, how much to irrigate. Similarly, there are some biophysical challenges that need to be addressed. Maybe I'll skip those. And science for improving supplement in wheat yield in the MENA region that ICARDA and other partners also did in the region is this is a small table that shows from this out of 21 countries here, the supplementary irrigation were evaluated in 6 countries, and this is the summary of 16 papers, which shows that around 1.5 ton per hectare net yield benefit, which could be around 57% yield increment is possible with supplementary irrigation in MENA region. This is from the overall summary of those studies. And there are 2 other separate studies also, especially Binay and colleagues in Iraq and Syria. Conducted in 2016, like compared 3 irrigation like rain-fed, 100 millimeter, 200 millimeter. With those 3, what happened is the water productivity increased by 0.35 to 0.45 to 0.73 kilogram per cubic meter with rain-fed 100 and 200, even going up to 200 millimeter is fine. And 91 percentage in increment compared to rain-fed to 100 millimeter, and 112% yield increment compared to 100 to 200 millimeter irrigation is there. This is the result from Iraq. Similarly, there is the similar result from Syria as well. When evaluated with around 122 millimeter supplementary irrigation, it increased by 2.6 times, and water productivity from 0. Almost doubled. Those are the success stories from other countries. Similarly, we have very good success story with supplementary irrigation from Morocco. This is the experimental study where we compare 2 seeding dates in 4 consecutive years with good favorable rain-fed, favorable year as well as unfavorable year, and compared with rain-fed system. And what we found is in low rainfall years, supplementary irrigation with around 128 to 166 millimeter increased yield almost by more than 1 ton per hectare. Almost the result is around 50% or more than 50 or 57%. I will not read other results. Similarly, we did that study with the simulation model also. We use simulation model also. In many countries, we have seen during the before wheat planting, farmers plow the land, and even many cases they immediately after wheat harvesting, they plow the land and keep soil as the soil mulch. It's some layer of soil, 10-15 centimeter, plowed soil layer as soil mulch. Here, SSM is stored soil moisture, which came mostly due to that practice. And we, in third simulation scenario, we did SSM, that is pre-sowing soil mulch plus supplementary irrigation of 53 millimeter. That we conducted for long-term, using long-term simulation using APSIM in 3 regions of Morocco. And we compared these 2 practices of supplementary irrigation with rain-fed. And we found huge, almost like compared to initial stored soil moisture, increased yield by 24 to 37%, and SSM plus that one increased yield almost by more than 50%. Actually, this result has been published in agricultural system. 2 papers are there. Then we were interested what happens in 12 MENA region, 21 MENA region. Out of 21, we found 12 countries, they are producing significant amount of wheat. And then we run the APSIM model and we analyzed yield gap in those 12 countries, and we compared yield gap under historical system, under rain-fed potential system, and with supplementary irrigation. How much is the yield gap? How much can be closed? How much water can need to be applied? Then this is the yield gap. I'm not going to read these values. This first value is the difference between rain-fed potential minus the national. Second value is the supplementary irrigation minus the national potential. And here, 12 country covers around 12 million hectare out of 16 million hectare wheat area in 21 MENA region countries. This study covers almost 70-80% wheat area. And in the last 10 years, those countries' national average wheat yield varies 1.92 ton per hectare, and yield increment in those countries is very low, only 6 kilogram per hectare per year, which is, I would say, alarmingly low compared to many other wheat growing countries. And supplementary irrigation, when soil water content drops to 25% and we irrigate it, then using this method, we found that rainfed wheat yield can be increased almost by more than 200% in many countries. This here again, this is the, that one. And for this one, then we were interested, how much is the irrigation amount we need to apply then? This is the irrigation amount we need to apply. Yeah, first value is the rainfall and second value is the irrigation amount in each country. For example, Morocco, 311 is the average amount of rainfall. By the way, in all countries, this simulation has been conducted only in one site. Maybe in future, we are thinking to conduct this at least 3-4 major wheat growing sites in each country so that it will be strong enough to tell the story. And the second value is the irrigation amount. For example, Morocco requires around 100 millimeter supplementary irrigation. But the country, for example, Lebanon, already they are receiving almost more than 600 millimeter, and the supplementary irrigation is only very less, around 25 millimeter. While in Egypt and Yemen, no possibility of growing wheat, and Libya also without supplementary irrigation, and which is around 400 millimeter. So my message is, in good rainfall countries, seasonal supplementary irrigation of around 100 millimeter wheat yield can be doubled. 5 countries, for example, those which are receiving very low rainfall, they require, of course, a lot of around 400 millimeter irrigation. So then it has a lot of benefit, we know that. Then how to implement it to get the impact at is. I'm finishing in 1 minute. Yeah, I'm finishing. Technically,
we will be disconnected in 2 minutes, so if you can wrap
okay,
it
no
up
problem.
in 1
No,
minute.
I'll be finishing. Technological innovations, for example, soil moisture sensors, remote sensing, deficit irrigation, drought-tolerant varieties. Those are the innovations that we require to implement supplementary irrigation. It cannot move alone, and it needs to move with a package of bundle of practices. Similarly, not only technological aspect, it needs to consider economic and social consideration. For example, subsidies, incentives, capacity building, water pricing, etc. is necessary. And there are other challenges also, for example, infrastructure gap, economic constraints, policy barriers that need to be addressed while implementing or scaling SI approaches in MENA region. Especially, I'm focusing in MENA, and those are the 3 countries where successful supplementary irrigation has been moving forward. And my message is only 2. That is, supplementary irrigation is the grow more crop per drop. Second message is SI is for impact at scale with sustainability. Sustainability means 3 pillars, of course: economic, environment, and social. There are few other take-home messages also. I'm not going to read that all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Krishna. So as all we can see today from the list of presentations that we have, to achieve resilient agri-food systems that can withstand the impact of climate change and deliver better livelihood for rural communities, actually it's not a matter of technical interventions on the farm level, as you have seen already from Krishna presentations, many on farm interventions that can improve water productivity, but also we have seen some institutional interventions that are very important, as we have seen already from the presentations of Egypt example, how water user associations and how participatory approach in water management can also help to achieve these resilient agri-food systems. Also, we have seen from the presentation of Dr. Magnus how support of international organizations can also help to achieve these targets, and also from the presentation of Dr. Mohammed Khalifa, how can we use the technologies and how can we monitor the water, especially in the future. So all what we can conclude today together, that to achieve resilient agri-food systems, that needs for sure many interventions together, combined together, institutional, technical, and with the support of international organizations. Unfortunately, we don't have today time for any questions for these presentations. I have seen a couple of questions, so I think we can answer these questions, but it's expected at any time that the organizers will stop this session. So I think the first question is how we can use data science to leverage the outcomes of agricultural scarcity and the output yield per hectare in areas of Middle East. So I think this question could be answered by Dr. Mohammed Khalifa, for example. Dr. Mohammed, could you please answer this question?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I think this is very interesting question because MENA region and other similar regions are having shortage in ground data. So using remote sensing data could be a very interesting approach because it gives the spatial dimension and overcome the problem of data limitation. It is not only about the data that comes from satellite. We can also complement that with data from the ground. I remember that we did an analysis in Sudan where we combined remote sensing data with survey to detect the farmers' practices and come with some messages about and conclusions about what is the impact of the data of farmer practices on the productivity and link that with the satellite outcomes. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I think so. Yes. So as a second question, is there any concrete plan proposed till now regarding regional research-based education on various sectors rather than regurgitating information in order to address SDG goals? I think this question could be answered by Dr. Magnus. Okay. Anyway, I have received a message now from the organizers that they have to close the meeting now. So thank you for being with us today, and thank you for our esteemed speakers that has already given us informative and fruitful presentations, and hope we can see you at any time in the future in such similar and in such fruitful events. And thank you, Professor Vinay. Could you please say anything at the end?
No, thank you so much, Mohi. I think we have already exceeded the time, and apologies to the audience for not sticking to the agenda. And thank you so much for sticking around for this long. We can continue the conversation by email. So please touch base with us or any of the speakers by email if necessary. Thank you. Thank you, Mohi, for moderation.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.